In this Baldur's Gate 3 guide, I'm going to show you a Paladin and Barbarian build cross that is insane. You get lots of rage melee attacks, and you have some very essential spells as well that you can use. I've had a lot of fun with this, and out of all the builds that I've done so far, this has been the most fun. And the reason why I wanted to do this build is because I was kind of... Paladin is okay, but once you start to level up more and more, you get so many spells and it can be very confusing, and I wasn't really using most of those spells. So that's why I decided to do this build instead. Let's jump into this Baldur's Gate 3 build guide and I'll show you what this is all about. Alright guys, so this build is just straight up fun to use. It's not necessarily the best build out there. It's just something I have been cooking up, and it's just heaps of fun. So let's get started. First of all, you want to go with the half, and that is because we get the savage attacks. We also get the relentless endurance. You probably know about these. And then we get dark vision. Now this one is when you land a critical with a melee weapon attack, your damage dices are tripled instead of doubled. And then we get, if you reach 0 hit points, you regain 1 hit point instead of becoming down. We're going to choose the Paladin. And then we're going to choose Oath of Vengeance. And then we're going to choose Outlander for our background. Now, abilities. You want to have even numbers across the board here, because we're not going to be putting any points into these later on. In this, I have 16 in Strength, 16 in Dex, 14 in Constitution, 8 Intelligence, 8, and then 12. Now, what I would recommend you do, so we have +3 Strength, +3 Dex, +2 Con, -1 Intelligence, -1 Wisdom, and +1 Charisma. If you wanted to kind of even it out a little bit better, I would take 2 out of here and put 2 into Wisdom. But it's really just up to you. But because we are going to use a couple of spells with this class, I am going to put this into Charisma. So level 2, we're going to go with Paladin, because we kind of need a couple of spells now just for the game, for these lower levels. So we're going to go with Fighting Style and put our things into defense here. And the spells we're going to take is, the reason I like this build is because with Paladin, if you just run Paladin, it ends up being an insane amount of spells, and I usually don't use all of them. So with this one here, what you want to do is Searing Smite, Bless, and then Cure Wounds, because with this build later on, these 2 spells are going to come in handy, and after this, we're not using any more spells. So choose these 3, and then we're going to go to the next level, and then we also get the Divine Smite and the Divine Reaction, and then the critical one as well. Now once we're at level 2, you're going to be using this setup for a while, and this setup is going to be bludgeoning damage down here. Now we are actually changing out to a different weapon later on in the build, and I'll explain to you that bit when we get to it. But this is the build we have at level 2. We have this spell that we can use. Okay, so that we're going to be using that. We have some healing stuff here. We have Bless, and we have these here that we can use. Okay, so we can put 1 radiant damage and a daze to an enemy. We can do gain advantage on attack rolls, and then we've got these 2 health ones. We've got Bless, we have Searing Smite, and then we have Divine Smite as well. So we're going to be using these throughout level 2, and then we just have basic melee attacks. But now we're going to go to level 3, and we're going to get the Barbarian into the mix. So let's go and do that. So level 3, we're going to go add class, and we're going to go Barbarian, and we are going to now get Rage, and we're going to get the unarmored defense. While not wearing armor, you add your Constitution modifier to your armor class, and now we're going to go accept. So at level 3, this build is still essentially the same, because all we have is Rage. We can't actually use that just yet because we don't have the right attacks to use Rage. So level 3, we're still going to be kind of using just the same stuff. But now when we get into level 4 and beyond, we're going to start to unlock this class and really start to see the potential. So from now level 3 to 4, now it starts to get really interesting, because now we get Reckless Attack. Okay, and we also get the Danger Sense. You sense when things aren't as they should be. So now we're level 4, and we're starting to get some really good stuff going here. We still have our basic melee attacks here. And now we have Reckless Attack, which is very good. And we still have our health and our Bless and things like that. So we have some really good health spells. We have the Bless. We have the Divine Smite. We still have our, obviously, our Searing Smite here as well. And then we have Reckless Attack. And like I said, the reason I like this build is because I don't like Paladin at the end game, at the higher levels. like straight Paladin classes because there's just too many spells. I just don't like it. So level 5 is now where we really unlock this class. Level 5 is where it really starts to get interesting. So we're going to stick with Barbarian, and we're going to go Berserker, and we're going to get Frenzy now. So your rage turns into a frenzy. You gain Frenzied Strike and Enraged Throw. You can also make an improvised weapon attack on a bonus action. And we also get Frenzied Strike and Engaged Throw here. So this is really good. So now this is what we have. So now with this build at level 5, we've now got some more melee attacks here. And now we can start using our Rage and Frenzy. So now we're starting to get some really good melee attacks that we could use with this class. Now things get very interesting at level 6. We get our first feat, and what you want to do is you want to do this. You want to go to Dual Wielder. You can use 2 weapons even if your weapons aren't light, and you gain 1 bonus to armor class while wielding a melee weapon in each hand. So this is the one you want to choose, and I'll show you exactly why, and this is where we start getting into the spears and stuff. Alright, so let's just first talk about the weapons, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff we have. With the Paladin, you get these 2 javelins straight off the bat. Put these javelins into your 2 slots, because we can now do that, okay? Use javelins for now, but later on, when we get to more deeper levels, you are going to want to get spears. Now, I'll talk about why you need spears in a second, but these are our spears here. Hopefully you can see my screen here. You can pick up spears at the trader. So you're going to have a spear by the time you get to the feat. So we're going to be using a feat that works with spears soon. And you're going to have a spear by the time you get to this point anyway. So just make sure you pick up some spears on your way through your gameplay. You don't need them till like level 7 or 8, I think. I can't remember. But you want to get some spears. But anyway, these are some of the spears you can pick up from the traders. So now we're going to go to level 7, and we essentially just want to stay with Barbarian now. We get an extra attack, which is very good, and we get fast movement. Now, we just get features pretty much now, so I'm not going to stop at every single level because we're not going to be getting any new attacks. But now we get this subclass feature here, and we get an additional rage charge as well. This one we get, you have honed your instincts to the utmost degree. You gain +3. And can't be surprised. You want to stick with that one. You don't want to change back to Paladin in this build, guys, because it messes up the spells. You can use a bonus action to attack with the butt of your weapon, and you also get an opportunity attack. So you only get 2 feat points with this class, but you get that dual wielding, and you get that little bonus from that, and then you also get the Polar Master because you can dual wield spears. So this is what I was saying. You want to pick up some spears along your journey. So we're going to go ahead and then from level 11 to 12, you want to stick to this. Do not change to anything else, okay? You might be tempted to change to this, but it messes up the spells. So just stick with this one, but the spells disappear. So just stick with this, 11 to 12, Barbarian, and away we go. Alright guys, so now I'm in some combat, so I can kind of show you how things work. First of all, we have Frenzy. Your rage turns into Frenzy. So let's go. We are now frenzied, and essentially because we're such a higher level now, you should have spears, so you'll be wielding 2 spears rather than the javelins. We also have Lay on Hands, where you are blessed touch to heal a creature or cure it of all diseases. So this is very good for your companions. And then we have you know, some other house stuff as well, which was what I've talked about. So we can go ahead and do a main hand attack, we can do a piercing strike, or we can go ahead and do a reckless attack. I'm going to go and do a reckless attack on this guy, and you can see we have an advantage here of 99%, which is very good. And we just stabbed him. And then we also have an extra attack. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one here. And we also have a advantage again because we have reckless. And then we just did 12 of the, what is it called? Radiant on him, and some other damage as well. And then I can go ahead and use Bless. I can bless the character here. We can now bless ourselves. And then I can go ahead and I can do this one as well, which is very good. And this is for 2 turns. So we get a 1 radiant damage and can daze enemies. So now we have Blessed. We have this one here, the Might. We have a bunch of melee stuff we can use. We still have the Searing Smite we can use. Now, one thing about this build is we only have 2 spell slots, so that can be a little bit of a disadvantage. I was going to use my spells here, but I don't have any slots left to show you. But it's more of a melee, raging melee build mixed in with a few essential spells that you're not going to use all of the time anyway. And I wanted to show you those 2 feats that work really well together with dual wielding weapons. Alright guys, that's my Paladin Barbarian build, and this is awesome. I love using it. Go and try it out. You might not like it, it might not work, be the best for you. It just might not work for you, but it works really well for me and I enjoy it, and it's just a very fun build. But it doesn't get very good until kind of level 4 onwards, so just keep that in mind when working on this build. I'll see you on the next video. Hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.